This is a big one that because you guys live in ridiculously large cities. I live in a large city that everybody drives, so I don't see the issues of what you're going to talk about here
Mhm.
shortly. But go ahead and tell us what our main story we're going to really get into, here next.
Right. So New York recently passed a few different bills to protect the dignity of gig workers and specifically food delivery workers like Grubhub drivers, DoorDash,
Seamless,
Uber
right?
Eats, yeah,
Hmm.
all of that. Because the conditions that they were working in could not be described as anything less than inhumane. I mean, the restaurants they were delivering for wouldn't even let them use the bathrooms when
Hmm.
they came in. And I'm doing y'all a solid. You know what I'm saying? And just
Hmm.
and the idea that I saw in researching, I looked at a Twitter somebody tweeted a video of a guy during last week's 2 weeks ago Hurricane Ida blew through, flooded everywhere on the East Coast, and there was still a guy delivering food in waist deep water pushing his bike. And it's just like, that's not noble. You know what I mean? We should first of all, we as people who order delivery should not be ordering delivery when there's a flood going on outside. Have some kind of humanity, but that's not noble to force people to work in those type of conditions. So I just wanted to talk about the idea of how delivery workers, gig workers in particular, are treated in this country, because they are mostly, especially when you come talk about food delivery, overwhelmingly Black and brown. And we need to do better to make sure that their rights are protected.
No,
So
absolutely. Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Terrence.
No, I was just gonna say absolutely because we, like Stephanie mentioned, we take them for granted. We really we assume that when we put an order on our phone in an app that somebody's coming.
Hmm.
When me in return, I am, for example, I'm concerned about me going to a restaurant because of this COVID going around. So let me be careful and stay in the house for my family and stay close contact and but let me get on this phone and have somebody
Right. Somebody else risk their life.
right to bring me some pizza, right? So we
Boy.
take them for granted. And the fact that some of these stories that are getting published, these stories that some of these gig workers are telling, it's not, it doesn't equate to the respect that they should be getting for going out and doing these things. Now we see it as, again, we see it as minor. Oh, it's just somebody working on their spare time, or
Right.
somebody part time, or somebody trying to save up for a vacation. No, that is not the case. These are people out here who cannot get a job any other way and have resorted rather to taking these jobs because that is the way that they pay their bills. And we're not
That's right.
treating them that way. We're treating them as, oh, this is something that this some college kid on the side trying to make some extra money for spring break. When in reality, there are people out there who are making a living out of this, and we should treat them as such.
And supporting their family. In New York City, there are over 80,000 food delivery workers. 42% said they experienced being underpaid or not paid at all. 75% say they used their own money for medical care. 54% reported being robbed, and 30% said they were assaulted during the robbery.
Hmm.
So, I mean, you are taking, even if this is just your side hustle to make a couple dollars to flex in Cancun, you are
Hmm.
literally risking your life to bring somebody, a hoagie, or whatever. And there needs to be protections in place for that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, like I said, the big city aspect of this that I'd never really thought about was the fact that a lot of these folks are getting jacked. What you said, 54% have been robbed,
54%.
30% have been assaulted.
Yes.
That's
During a
almost a
robbery.
third. That's over
Yes.
half, and it's almost a third that have been assaulted. And as I started reading a couple of Twitter stories, a big thing right now is trying to get a delivery person that's going to cross a bridge where they've got to go somewhere far from home, and you jack them. You basically you get their e-bike, you get the cash that they have on them, and then you're rolling with an e-bike and the cash that they had on them, and this is like a regular thing there. This is, people are delivering, this food at their own peril in many instances.
That's
So the
right.
thought is, I do see both sides of it, because I know folks who do, who are the college student who are doing this just to have some extra cash. They do this on the weekend. I do know that there are some folks that are like that, but they are the few. The many are the ones who are doing this to support themselves and to support their family, to where it is an 8, 10, 12 hour a day job where all you are doing is picking food up and
That's right.
dropping food off. So the first thing that really stood out to me is that you're just not a good person when the person that is coming to deliver the food to generate business for your establishment, you don't even let them use the facilities to relieve themselves after they have, been delivering food for you all day.
Right.
That needs to get, do you have to make a law for that? Yeah, we have
We
to
have
make a
to
law for
pass a
that.
law to
It's
let
like,
them
we got to
use the
pass a law for that.
bathroom.
So there's that. But the other part of it is like, are they employees? Are they contractors?
Right.
I
Well,
would imagine that
that's the
some of them
problem.
really want
Yeah.
to be a contractor and want to be treated as such. But I imagine that others, well, the only reason I'm doing this as a contractor is because it's the only way that I can do it. I would love to have some benefits. I would love to have a day off and actually get paid for it. I would love to be able to go vote and not have to call off, or to, literally log out of an app and not make money when that happens. I would love to be able to go to a doctor's appointment. I would love to be able to go to a PTA meet. I would love to be able to do all these things that you do get with, if you have a good enough job to have some benefits with it. So
It's
how do
tough
we
because the
rectify
labor secretary, our current labor secretary, has been pushing for that. But these companies have enough money to kind of squash it, because Uber did that when their drivers wanted to be classified as employees, and it was actually on California's ballot at one point, and Uber just threw a bag of money at the problem in marketing and PR and convincing people that was not the way to go, and it was defeated. So these companies got deep pockets, and they're maybe buying some politicians. They're definitely swaying public opinion with their power, and so it's going to be a tough call to get to a point where they are classified as employees, but some of them are unionizing now. So I think we're going to see a lot more of unions being built, being created and organized around gig workers.
Right.
so
Right.
and
And again, like I said, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and
Go
also
ahead,
in
Rob.
researching this story, some other articles kind of came up, particularly with Amazon, and Amazon is using AI on their
Trash.
delivery drivers that is supposedly supposed to make them safer, but they are like, I don't want to get dinged for turning on my turning signal, so I'm just going to merge over without doing. It's like, what? It's
Insane.
AI
Insane. And then
can
there
be
was
crazy
and
sometimes.
then did you see the report? There was also a recent report, and it was on the guy's video camera captured it. It was a guy that worked for Amazon. He was like an executive that was getting a package delivered to his home, and the driver, I guess there's a rule that you're not allowed to walk across people's grass when you deliver packages for Amazon, but the driver did. And I think his justification was like, so I can hurry up, because if I have to go all the way down, the walkway and then get to his walkway, and that takes time, and time is money when you're an Amazon driver. Volume is key. And the guy, when I tell you, ripped him a new one, cursed him out, called him the N-word. I don't know where you get the N-word from, because the boy walked across the grass, but I think that guy has been relieved of duty at Amazon, the executive. But again, it just goes to show the draconian rules that these gig workers and these delivery people have to live under, that just really prevent them from being able to do their jobs.
Yeah.
Right.
Do I take the ding to walk across the yard, or do I take the ding and use the sidewalk? I'll get more steps in, but it's going to take me longer to get there because
15 seconds
this
longer.
is, it's
Now I don't meet my quota for deliveries for the day because I had to stay on the sidewalk. Now my bonus is affected, my pay is affected. It's a domino effect that happens.
Yep.
No, but I'm looking at this article and I'm like, some of the things they get dinged for using turn signals. If you
So you'll get
turn, isn't
dinged,
it?
but then you get a ticket for not signaling before you
Yeah, I'm
turn.
like, isn't it the law that you're supposed to use a
You
turn
can't
signal
win.
or at least a hand
You
signal? So what are
can't
you supposed to do,
win.
Amazon? Stick your arm out the door and let people know you're about to stop, turn
You
left or
can't
right?
win. But then
So
there's also the AI thing that we've been talking about since we started this
yeah,
podcast, with the fact that they're looking at faces and trying to see who looks drowsy and who doesn't look drowsy based on their eye, how open their eyes are or whatever they're using. But
Hmm.
that fails and can be misinterpreted for people of color. And it's just Amazon, do better. I mean,
yeah,
that's pretty much going to be my slogan. I'm gonna get a T-shirt and say "Do better," and
but yeah, I'm
everybody
just
just
like
needs to do better.
using turn signals, looking at your rear view mirror. I'm
Yeah,
like,
because
I thought
God
these were
forbid
the
you
things that you're
drive
supposed to
safely.
do. Yeah,
Yeah, God
it's
forbid you drive safely. It's insane. It's
so
absolutely insane. Amazon, and again, it just speaks to, it's a lot of us out there doing this work. And there are things that just need to change. And when you're not experiencing it, when it doesn't affect you directly, you just want your Prime package delivered in 24 hours, like they said it would. You
Hmm.
don't tend to look at these issues as closely.
Right, and that goes to my question: is how do we put the genie back into the bottle when it comes to this? Because not taking personal responsibility. I am an Amazon user, and it is a plus that
Hmm.
when I order something in a day or two at the latest, it's at my door. And then, like, again, to my original point, I feel like I am protecting myself and my family because I have these abilities to be able to deliver
Privilege,
something.
call it what it is.
Privilege, yes,
Hmm.
that's the word I'm looking for. Privilege to have this stuff delivered. And I'm like, all right, well, the more stuff I order, the more work I'm giving to delivery drivers, so it's like, it's this weird, where's the middle? Where's the middle
Yeah,
between providing a product or providing a demand and making sure at the same time there are precautions, there are safety, making sure, again, all these workers are protected, make sure they have benefits. I don't care what you say, whether they're contractors or employees or whatever the case may be, these people should have benefits.
that's
They
right.
should be able to do all of this work. And then if an ailment happens for them or their family, they should be able to go to their urgent care or go to their doctor or go to the emergency room and rest assured that how am I going to pay for this is the last thing on their mind. The
That's
first
right.
thing I need to be take better care of myself, take better care of my family, not how I'm going to pay for this. When you've been
Hmm.
working 12, 16 hours straight, sitting in a car, sedentary,
Right.
driving around, tearing up your health,
Not
just to
able to go
live.
to the bathroom there either, because I've
Right.
heard plenty of reports about Amazon employees that keep, jugs and
Bottles.
jars and
Yeah.
bottles in
Right.
their car, in their trucks, so that they can relieve themselves in the truck and not have to, waste time on that. So yeah, and I think at the end of the day, we're going to have to see these organizations get unionized.
Hmm.
It's probably going to result in more costs passed on to the consumer, but
Hmm.
that's a price I would be willing to pay.
Right.
It
Right.
really is.
yeah, you
Especially
asked
after
about
hearing
the
these stories. At the
yeah,
very least, I'm
you
gonna
asked
tip
about
more.
you asked about the genie. How do we put the genie back in the bottle? We don't.
Right.
No.
It's we're never going to go back to the way it was. These delivery, the food delivery folks in New York, they were having issues well before COVID.
Yeah.
COVID just exacerbated it, and
Yeah.
in some ways actually gave them some relief. I mean, there were, for independent contractors, there were specific programs that are pretty much being ended state by state at this point,
Yeah.
to give them some
PUA.
relief. That's going away. So we may get back to how we were pre-COVID, to where these issues were already bad. It's like, I really need to, be able to not have my bike stolen from me. I really need to be able to use the facilities somewhere on my route. Those kind
Hmm.
of things, they really do need to be addressed. And I don't know. It's going to take somebody smarter than me to figure this out, because, as I said, I do understand the business side of it. I don't necessarily agree 100% with the business side of it, but I do understand it. It's like, well, the reason we're using contractors is because it's less expensive for
It's
us,
cheaper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
that's
we can
overhead.
ultimately,
Yeah.
bolster our bottom line. I get why they are doing what they are doing. So I don't, happy middle ground doesn't exist. We need to figure something out that is, that is going to have these workers out there with some protections.
Well, I think the federal government can start with not killing PUA. I mean, that pandemic unemployment assistance was key for millions of people across the country that couldn't work and couldn't do gig work because of this. So I think that needs to be a permanent fixture of unemployment compensation. And then, obviously our healthcare system is trash. So that needs
Right.
an overhaul anyway, and needs to have some protections and some allowances included for gig workers, the same as everybody else.
So I think that we have talked about this. We're not going to solve anything in this show, but we kind of wanted to just bring up the plight of delivery drivers,
Tip
delivery
your
riders.
delivery drivers.
Tip them. Oh wow!
Tip
I do
them
got to say
well.
this. Some systems don't even allow you to give them a tip.
Wow.
Slide them
So
$5.
particularly, I hardly use cash anymore. I hardly use cash anymore, but I do keep it on hand so that if I do have somebody deliver something to the house, I can physically give them currency as compared to putting it through the system where they may have to share it with, someone
or not get it at all because
not get it all.
platforms do that too.
Heard of owners doing that. So yeah, tip your delivery people. Be nice to them.
Yeah, one of the things we started doing was, especially around the holidays, Halloween on, we put out the gift baskets with all the snacks and
Oh,
all
look at
the
y'all! Y'all like
yeah,
those people I see on TikTok with the little
right,
with the water bottles and the
yeah,
and the granola bars waiting for the drivers and whatnot.
right. But we
Look
don't
at
do that
y'all.
just to be on TikTok, because that's a whole nother thing. It's
Yeah,
like
whole nother conversation.
be kind for the
In
sake of
private.
being kind, and
Yeah.
not trying to go viral.
True.
Yeah.